Today we continue to inform you about the situation on the front line of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, write some comments and subscribe channel to show your support for the Ukrainian people who are fighting for their future and for their freedom. This pre-dawn there were powerful explosions in Sevastopol in the Kiel and Balka area. The fire was caused by a missile attack. This is how a military facility burned upon explosions. Previously it was the 13th ship repair plant, which builds and repairs ships and submarines of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. A Russian submarine and warship were damaged in the pre-dawn barrage on the Sevastopol shipyard, potentially the largest strike against Russian naval targets of the war. It is about putting out of order for a long time or even completely destroying the Minsk large amphibious assault ship and the Rostov-on-Don diesel-electric submarine. Russian media report that these two were damaged while in a dry dock. Military expert Serhiy Kuzan said that the main task of the Ukrainian army now is to attract as many Russian troops as possible to the south. This is a big bag, and it's more beneficial for the Ukrainian army to have the Russian enemy there rather than in the east, where occupiers can easily feed their troops. The Ukrainian armed forces are already preparing for autumn battles in the rain with Swedish armored personnel carriers. The Russians have failed in their plans in Kupyansk area. They are exhausted near Avdiivka and they cannot do anything further with under Ukrainian army control heights near Bakhmut. The main battle for a key high ground continues in Svatov area near Volgograd. This is the second Volgograd there, because there is a walled cemetery of Russian enemy tanks and armored vehicles around this height, and a huge number of Russian corpses are rotting in the hills. The occupiers do not even take the bodies of their dead soldiers. Meanwhile, Russia is preparing for a large-scale mobilization with up to 700,000 people to be drafted into the army. Relevant documents confirming these Kremlin plans have been leaked online. Near Bakhmut, the Ukrainian armed forces have succeeded in the area of Klishchiivka and Andriivka. The Russian enemy has been pushed back behind the railroad at these points and is now being driven to the river. But the Russians have left Andriivka and the village has moved into the gray zone. And this is video confirmation of Ukrainian armed forces advance into the center of Klishchiivka near Bakhmut. Deep State's map shows that the Russians do not partially control the settlement, so we are waiting for the official confirmation. Also, as you can see, the soldiers are moving calmly. There are no Russian troops nearby. In Tokmak area, the penetration in the Russian defense is expanding. The logistics between Verbove and Novoprokopivka have been disrupted. These garrisons are cut off from each other. There are even reports that the Ukrainian soldiers have entered the outskirts of Verbove. Also at the front, the Ukrainian armed forces set a record for destroyed enemy artillery. It is about 228 units over the past week. A Russian ammunition depot on the outskirts of Verbove was destroyed. That's why Russia has to drive columns here and there. There will be no success from these maneuvers. On foreign soil, only defeat waits for Russians. At the same time, Denmark is preparing the 12th and the largest military aid package for Ukraine, worth about $830 million. This money will be used to purchase tanks, armored personnel carriers, tank shells and air defense equipment. The types of equipment have not yet been announced. Most of these funds will be allocated by the end of this year, with the rest in 2024 and 2025. We are grateful to our allies. An explosive gift arrived to the occupiers in Enerhodar from the resistance and the Hur. The occupiers were celebrating the day of the migration units of the Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs. During a feast in a room equipped for a passport department, a Ukrainian drone visited them with a gift. Another drone flew to officers of the occupation army. The third one hit the occupiers' radio communications center. Also during this day, a Su-24M tactical bomber crashed in the Volgograd region. It is unknown whether pilots managed to eject. Rescue operations continue. The Russian Ministry of Defense confirms that the plane crashed during a scheduled training flight. The ministry clarifies that the flight took place without ammunition. The plane crashed in a deserted area. Mi-8 helicopters of search and rescue service were sent to the scene. Supposed that the pilots died. This is how Ukraine continues to fight for its future and for its freedom. Please do not stand aside. Support Ukraine. Like this video, write some comments and subscribe this channel. Glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes.